Hello, back with another video. This is going to be a continuation of my last video, which was Chaos Turbo Mirror with R3v. This is going to be match 2 of that. So I start off by winning rock, paper, scissors, and I open with a pretty good hand for a Chaos Turbo Mirror. Play here is pretty obvious. It's going to be discard Thunder Dragon, set Dekoichi, set Solemn. You could definitely just not set Solemn, but I would potentially Solemn on Knock with this specific hand. In fact, I would almost definitely Solemn Knock. So it's going down for sure. He goes for set monster in a back row, so that's very ideal for me. I draw Jar of Greed. I have an option here between going for knock before flipping to Koichi. And the reason for that would be to get rid of all the Gravekeeper spies so that I don't go Deco, draw spy, then knock spy. However, I don't really care that much about this situation because sometimes it'll go like you go knock and then they chain like Regeki Break or Wing Blast on your Dekoichi, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm just gonna take my draw right now. I draw spy. So here's a very interesting situation. It's probably correct to use knock, and everyone, most like 99% of people would just autopilot use it right here. But let's think about this more. If I knock spy, my in-hand spy will be dead, which isn't like the worst thing ever. I could still set it and it'll be a dark for sorcerer, and I'll still be in a fine situation. But if I just go Deco attack spy, do I really care? Not really. I can put out sorcerer eventually, as soon as next turn. And I have Jar of Greed. Basically, I'm saying you should consider the option of holding knock, even with 2 in this situation. Specifically in situations where their graveyard has nothing in it, so you're not scared of Faith or nothing. And as long as you have the set spy wouldn't completely destroy you, you can just hold knock. That's what I decide to do in this situation. I just attack and then set spy with Jar. He goes for set monster and set 3 back rows. So my turn, draw upstart. He goes for Regeki Break on monster. So let's look at this situation. If I were to have used knock last turn, actually it doesn't mean anything. But let's say his set was spy, and I knocked it, and then I had this spy in hand. I would have only banished 2 spies, so he probably would have known that this were spy. He wouldn't waste this Regeki Break on this spy here. Just a thing to note. So I'm completely fine with that. So now, what do I want to do now? I think at this point I want to just use knock before upstart. This is still likely not Faith. And I would have been fine just getting rid of the spies at this point. Because with 3 back rows, it's not going to be as easy for my Chaos Sorcerer to get through spies. So I upstart into Sangan, which is a good card. I could use Jar of Greed. Only problem is that he has 3 back rows, and you know, there could be cards like Solemn, there could be another Regeki Break, there could be possible MST. So basically, I don't want to give away which of my back row is real. Because basically, if I were to use Jar and leave this Solemn down, he's like pretty sure that this card won't be... This card would be vulnerable to Spell and Trap Destruction. He could easily just go MST on it pretty safely. So I want to leave this Jar of Greed down, at least for right now. As for what to do with Sangan, I could summon it, attack for 24. It's definitely a fine option. If he goes Mirror Force or Torrential, I would be okay with that. Or I could go for the passive play, which is setting Sangan. I think both plays are fine. It's hard to say again which one is better. I think if you summon, you kind of just make his life too easy. Because like he'll be able to Mirror Force, and then he knows what I search. He could possibly answer that. So I'm cool just playing this slow. I also know he almost definitely does not have Knock, because he would have used Knock on my set over using Regeki Break. Could potentially have another Regeki Break, which he might use on Sangan. So I think setting it is a cool play. So he forgets Serpent and sets a monster. So now what do you do? I again have the option to use Jar. I could go Knock, I could flip. I think about this probably way too long in game. Play is just going to be to flip Sangan, use Knock. I even considered like holding Knock again, but again, I think Spy is a bit... It's not... It could stall out the game that I'm very ahead in, so... So, hit for 24, and then obviously just set Faith, main phase 2. I'm again holding Jar of Greed for the same reasons as last turn. And also because I already have a monster to place on field. And he does have another Regeki Break. Interesting that last turn... I wonder if he got lucky by forgetting Serpent on that last turn. He might have used the Regeki Break on my Sangan, but he forgot about Serpent. So possibly unlucky for me that he forgot. So he finds Duo. Very likely that he drew this for turn. I could change our Greed, but I don't really feel the need. I kind of like the 66% chance of him hitting a Thunder Dragon instead of 50%. And I don't care that much about Chaos Sorcerer to activate Jar. I find Tsukiyomi. At this point, I believe I just have to use Jar. Yep. Which finds Spy. I'm expecting the set monster to be Serpent. I don't necessarily want to go Sook, though. Because like Sook, and then he clears with Torrential. Yeah, I do get the search with Sangan, but it's still not a great outcome for me. I mean, it's an okay outcome, obviously. Question is, could he possibly have Torrential when he decides to Regeki break my set, instead of potentially going for like Summon Serp, use TT? So there's probably not Torrential. In any case, I'd go for an attack with Sangan, and then for 14. Main phase 2, I have 3 options, probably even 4 options. I could tribute for Thunder Dragon, but I don't really like that option. I could set Tsukiyomi, I could summon Tsukiyomi, and I could set Spy. I think the option I like the most is just setting Tsukiyomi. Just because I get to then interact with Deco on the next turn. Takes back Serpent and plays Thunder Dragon. So I'm going to expect the set monster to still be Serpent, because he would have drawn Thunder Dragon for turn. Main phase 1 here. The start is completely obvious. You flip Tsukiyomi, target Deco. He goes for Ring on Deco. And I could Solemn this to draw my card, and then go for Game through Serpent, but that doesn't really make sense. Yeah, I think I just allow this, have Solemn for his final card. Because if I'm expecting this to be Serpent, so I could Solemn the last card, Tsukiyomi can attack the Serpent, and Thunder Dragon will hit direct. Sangan Search, looks like I choose Night Assailant. Yeah, I mean, looks fine. Looks better than Serpent, because I have some stuff. Fortunately, this is Night Assailant. So his hand is now known to be Serpent, 2 Thunder Dragons. Back row is unknown. He sets a monster, which I expect to be Serpent. And I'm just going to go for Game. He goes for Solemn on Spy. He would only ever Solemn Spy if it was Game and he had to. So very easy Solemn back for me. So game 2 opens with him using Thunder Dragon, followed by Upstart. Set monster, followed by 3 back row, and Dust Shoot. He thinks for a while, sends Tribe, then plays another Dust Shoot, which sends Breaker. Okay. So let's think about the options. I think this is a pretty similar situation to the last match I had in game 2. This time I believe it's much more mandatory for me to use mind control. Like, it's close. The thing is, there is Upstarting Grave now, so this could be Magician of Faith, this could be Dekoichi, it could be Spy, and it could also be Bluffs. Summon Zambira attack is definitely an option too. I think my favorite play is just go Mind Control, set Faith though. You can make a case for Zambira though, for sure. I'd choose Mind Control in this situation and get punished. Because Zombira attack, Reaper, and then Mind Control main phase 2 would have been cool. Of course, he could have also had an answer to the Zombira, which he did. Looks like he was going to Regeki break it. So I need this Reaper to hit Zombira instead of Chaos Sorcerer. And it does. He sees that my Sorcerer is live, so now he uses up his duo. Sets a back row, ends. My only play is set Solemn Pass. He goes for Sook. I do have an option to Solemn, but I'm not really winning the game if I do that. He goes for 11. I take it. I draw Faith. Only play is to set it because Reaper would just poke and take it out of my hand. He sets a monster, passes. Now I could go for Faith, Mind Control. Mind Control is set monster. But what are like the actual good outcomes from that? It could be possible Faith. It could be Dekoichi, it could be Spy. But none of those are actually that good. Now, we actually see that it's a Night Assailant, which is actually the best possible outcome for a Mind Control. But the way I was thinking about this was I go Flip Faith, Mind Control. Mind Control is set monster. Let's just say it's Spy. Or even anything. So then I'll set Spy and give back his monster, and he'll just destroy Faith, and that's kind of it. So I don't think that it has much value to flip and get Mind Control. Even though we see that his set is Night Assailant, that would be completely amazing for me. Obviously, I'm not expecting Night Assailant in the moment, as generally people don't set Night Assailant into set monsters. So I see the bad news that it's Night Assailant, and it's so bad that I have to Solemn it. He sets a monster. I draw Sook. And now this situation, I decide I'm going to Flip Faith to take Mind Control the new set, with the intention of then going Sook on my Faith. Unfortunately, this set happens to be Sinister, so it's like just really bad timing for myself, and that's just gonna happen sometimes. So he rings my Faith. Not main phase 2. Now I have to decide whether I want to flip Spy, and what exactly I want to do with Serpent and Reaper. Do I want them face up? And I believe I do want them face up. And what is the reason for that? The reason is in case I draw like Chaos Sorcerer, I can just banish them. If I draw another Mind Control, I could destroy the Reaper. Stuff like that. I choose to have them both face up, and I choose not to flip the Spy. I would rather him summon Sook and swing into it. He also has Thunder Dragon, right? Yeah, he has a Thunder Dragon in hand. So I don't want him to be able to tribute Serpent for Thunder Dragon and hit over one Spy. So I take the chance of him just not drawing knock. He goes for Sook. I'm not really sure why he puts the Serpent back into attack mode in this spot. Like, did the damage matter? I don't really think so. He hits into Spy. So his hand is still known to be Thunder Dragon and Sook. My play is going to be pretty obvious here. It's going to be Sook, Spy, to thin my deck so that I don't draw it with Upstart. Flip this Spy. I have the option between putting this one in attack mode or defense mode. I'm cool with just having one defense mode Spy, so I'm going to put this one in attack mode and then use Upstart. And I also have the option of putting the third one in attack mode based on possible draws. I find Duo, which is decent. I decide I'm just going to swing over the Serpent. I could have kept it on field if I wanted to, but didn't really feel the need for it. Though, looking back, maybe that Serpent is better on field so that I can't get baited. And I'm going to be duoing his final Thunder Dragon, so I don't have to worry about getting tributed on. Maybe I should go for main phase 1 duo, just in case of Solemn, and then leave Serpent on field. That's probably the play, looking back. Just because I don't want the situation where now this set can be anything. It could be the Serpent, it could be a top decked Faith, Faith, Spy, all those things. I wouldn't have to guess, but now I do. So I draw a very good card, Pot of Greed, which finds Regeki Break, Thunder Dragon. I just go for Sook on my Spy. Attack the monster. Just a tiny error not putting this in defense mode, but we already saw last turn that there's very likely no Mirror Force when he allowed my 3 guys to go through. And I did it in this order so that I could at least get the Tsukiyomi off on my Spy before getting potentially dust shooted. And I'm okay to get dust shooted here. The Tsukiyomi is not super valuable. I could do some things, I don't know, maybe if I draw BLS, I could draw phase Regeki Break. I draw Heavy Storm, and at this point I'm cool just allowing dust shoot if he has it, which he does. Sends back Sook. At this point, if he's going to keep setting Serpent, I'm cool just allowing it to be on field and stuck. He goes for another set. I draw Torrential. I don't need to set this. There's not really any situation where I am torrentialing my 3 spies. I already have a Regeki Break that protects me. I would just make myself vulnerable to a Heavy Storm. So cool, just passing again. And there was again just no reason to really attack into a set monster. I draw a Regeki Break. Thinking here. I could set the break, but there's no reason. Ooh, what am I doing here? Why am I choosing to attack? I'm choosing to attack something that is likely to be Serpent. I don't like this. I think I should just continue going to defense mode. Yeah, I think this was a very small error. And I should just pass here. going to tomato, attack my spy. Obviously not going to Regeki break that. So I draw it to snatch. So some potential game shots are beginning to form. Like, what's the most I can do right now? I can Regeki break the Reaper, Heavy Storm back row, snatch the tomato. If the set monster is Serpent, I could do a max of 2800 damage. That's not enough, unfortunately, so I can't do much other than... I decide to set Regeki break here because now I have, let's just say he does nothing on his next turn, right? I can Regeki break 2 monsters and then I would have game, and it would be, he would kind of not even expect it. So he has to be careful. So, and if he does Heavy Storm, I just chain 2 Regeki breaks to destroy Tomato and Reaper, which is fine. So he goes for Mind Control on Spy, so I'm obviously expecting something when this happens. And then goes Heavy Storm. So he's obviously planning to win the game if he's making a play like this. So he has a Spy answer already. So I don't have to worry about potentially unlocking his board or anything, because he locked it with the intention of still winning. So he has an answer to my Spy that doesn't involve unlocking his board. So his back row is likely to be something that destroys Spy. So I go Regeki break target Tomato. He goes Regeki break target my Spy, and then I'm going to go Regeki break to target... I have the choice between Spy and Reaper. If I target Reaper, he would just need something that could do, like, let me see, 1200 plus 3 is 15. He would need something that has at least 800 attack. If I were to destroy Spy, he would have 600. He would need something that has 1700 attack. So not even Tribe would be able to do that. So I'm good at targeting the Spy. And my hand is like, I don't really care about any of these cards that much, so it's whatever. He hits the Heavy Storm and sets a monster. And we can actually see here that his hand was a Spy, so if I were to have allowed him to keep the Spy, he would have won the game. So I draw Jar of Greed. Okay, so I make another mistake on this turn. I remember I just swing into the set monster because I'm like overfearing Faith. For basically, I wanted to force him to make a decision on Faith on this turn before seeing my play. So that could either be Duo, Mind Control, Heavy, or Upstart. If I were to go set TT, Jar Greed, put Spy to defense, then what happens if he has Faith? There isn't that much that happens. Like, he could go flip Faith, get Heavy, and I would just change Jar Greed, and that would be okay. He can grab Duo for my Snatch, which would be okay. He could grab Mind Control, which could be somewhat worrisome, but he would need another monster on field to actually have game with that. So it's still okay. Upstart also okay, give me life. In any case, I do decide to attack the set monster. basically I didn't think of how bad Spy would be in this situation. It's so bad that I can't stop him from having game unless I use Snatch on Spy, which is obviously a terrible situation. Because now he could just defend and keep gaining life. Okay, so my turn, I use Jar Greed. I know the set is Serpent, right? So I don't really care about using Nobleman here. So pass turn looks good to me. He sets a monster. And now my Nobleman looks a lot better. Because obviously this could be Magician of Faith, and very good that it was. Because now I don't have to worry about any fates the rest of the game. My fates were already gone. And I still have my Knight Assailants, so I could get back my fates later on. I go for Set Breaker, and the reason is so that I can go next turn Flip Breaker, use Torrential, summon Kaiku, and banish his Serpent. He would not really expect to play like this, so he could easily just set a monster here and fall right into that. He uses Knock, finds Breaker. I'm not sure in the moment if he understands why Breaker could potentially be set, if he could have potentially figured out that it was because I have Torrential plus Kaiku. It's like Kaiku's already not a big thing to expect in the mirror, so expecting that Breaker to mean that I have Torrential Kaiku is not very likely. I draw Dust Shoot, and I decide to keep it in hand because I have Tribe in deck still. And if I draw Tribe, I'm going to want to discard Dust Shoot and not Kaiku. Important to think about stuff like that when attempting to bluff. Also, what would the bluff actually accomplish, right? I don't think it would accomplish anything. He already has his 2 Regeki Breaks gone, so it's not like a spot where he'll go Regeki Break on my Dust Shoot. He would probably just Regeki Break Snatch to win the game instead. Or MST the Snatch. I draw Serpent. Gonna set Serpent to potentially set up that flip TT play again. So he's all the way up to 9,200 at this point. And he finds another Knock for Serpent. I'm still okay with this. And I draw Graceful, which is a very good card. Just going to use it. And I draw many more good cards. The discards here are pretty obvious. Obviously not discarding BLS, not discarding Kaiku, and not discarding Solemn, because Solemn is amazing here, especially with Storm gone. So yeah, that leaves Upstart and Dust Shoot as must discards without even thinking. And now on to actually how to make the play. So obviously what I would like to do is go BLS, banish Reaper, summon Kaiku, put Spy to attack mode, Spy kills the Serpent, Kaiku hits direct, and banishes. However, we have some issues with that line. He doesn't have Mirror Force or Torrential Engrave yet. Now, I do have Solemn in my hand, so I could set Solemn and then make that play next turn. If he does anything, I just Torrential. and that would be good, right? However, what I decide to do is like a halfway play. I'm going to summon the BLS to banish Reaper and not actually summon Kaiku after that. If he has Torrential, he's probably just going to use it on Spy BLS. Actually, I probably would summon Kaiku after. Maybe not. It would be too risky. Snatch is gone. Snatch is not gone. Tribe's not gone. Yeah, I think Kaiku would be too risky afterwards. In any case, my plan was to bait something out with the BLS. And the plan works. Because he goes Torrential, which is perfect for me. And I go Kaiku Swing, which gets rid of the Serpent. And if you look in Grave, he has his 3 Thunder Dragons. His 2 Fates are already gone, so I'm going to banish his 1 Thunder Dragon. Next turn, I would banish his remaining 2 Thunder Dragons. There's also a chance his hand is Chaos Sorcerer. He also still has all 3 Chaos left, so there's going to be a lot of dead draws for him at this point. And I have Solemn to protect Kaiku from anything. He goes for Upstart, sets a back row. I draw into Sorcerer, and I could easily summon it. However, my win condition in this game is just getting his 3 Chaos offline. I don't really need to be adding 2300 damage to this. So I'm just going to attack for 18. Get rid of his remaining lights. And how do I lose now? I could lose with potential Snatch. Snatch would not be good for me. However, what can I do to prevent Snatch? First of all, I do have Solemn. So he would need Snatch plus Answer to Solemn. But if I summon Chaos Sorcerer, Snatch plus Answer to Solemn would still beat that board. So me summoning Sorcerer doesn't actually do anything. So I just end turn there. He goes for Tribe. I decide I'm not going to Solemn. And the reason I do this is because I've already gotten rid of all of his lights. There is 1 light remaining. He does have the 1 BLS, which he could put in Grave at some point. In any case, I decide I'm not going to Solemn this. I would rather let him discard his hand and then think about Torrential. He discards Chaos Sorcerer, and I think for a while about this, I examine like what's left in my deck, what's left in his deck. Monsters left in his deck are like Breaker, still 2 more Chaos. He still has Pot Graceful, which are not very good cards in this game state, which is rare to say. In any case, I decide I'm just going to flip the Torrential because losing 1600 is pretty important in this spot. I draw a Nobleman. So the play here might surprise some people. Like, you could easily just autopilot, slam Chaos Sorcerer, attack for 23, but what does that actually accomplish? I still would take 3 turns to win. And also give him Snatch as a win condition. So, instead I could just set Nobleman, pass, and now he has no win condition, right? He goes Card Destruction. No reason for me to Solemn this. So he discards his 1 light BLS, finds Chaos Sorcerer, but I still have the answer with Solemn. Okay, I draw Jar of Greed. So I again start thinking about what monsters he has remaining. He does have the Breaker still. And that's kind of it. There's Breaker. I don't know where his Decoichis are. Maybe they're non-existent because he has like Tomato and Reaper in here. Yeah, so there's like Breaker. That's really it. And I struggle to see how I actually lose the game if I set Sangan. Where is Nox? Nox are gone. So I can easily go to a deck out win here. Just set Sangan, set Jar Pass. He sets back row. I draw Sook. Here I believe I actually make a mistake. I go for Jar of Greed, thinking that I would still be up 1 in deck count, but the Sangan is something that can decrease my deck by 1. Yeah, this is actually a huge mistake that I didn't realize until later on in this game. Because let's say I go Jar here, he draws Breaker, summons Breaker, and attacks my Sangan. Now I'm going to be low on deck, and I probably can't even deal 5,600 because at this point I've committed to a deck outline instead of summoning Sangan attacking. So this Jar of Greed, this is a, what is this, like my 3rd, 4th mistake of the game. It seems minor, like in the moment, you don't even realize it. But that Jar of Greed was a big mistake and allowed me to have a chance to lose this game that was actually at 100% win rate, I think. It was 100% win rate before using Jar of Greed. Because I could just set everything. At this point, I should actually use Nobleman on my own Sangan. Actually, is it this point I should do it? Yeah. I should Nobleman my own Sangan. For sure. I draw Dust Shoot. And I know for sure I still have a Sangan target in my deck because I have no Night Assailants yet. So again, I should Nobleman my Sangan. I draw the Night Assailant, and at this point I'm safe. I don't have any more Sangan targets because my last card is going to be Solemn. Because I removed the Decoichis out of my deck after game 1. For Kaiku Zambira. And there's a deck out win. Alright, so that was a pretty cool match. I made like, there were 3 or 4 errors. That Jar of Greed could have been a fatal mistake. It still would have taken some unluckiness for it to matter. He would have needed to identify which of my sets are Sangan. But yeah, thanks for watching. Be back at some point.